Thank you. We're really pleased to be here today. I'm the CEO of Inspire, and I got to know Katherine through her membership in Inspire. And we're going to tell you today what I hope you'll find a really incredible story. And it's a story about search and discovery and self-organization, an incredible act of self-organization, and empowerment. We hear a lot about patient empowerment, but I think what you'll see today is that what we really need is patient audacity. And hopefully at the end, we'll be a little bit enlightened. So here we go. We're going to talk today about a medical condition called spontaneous coronary artery dissection. And Katherine's probably the best person in the room to describe it to us.
Yes. As you can see, this is an artery. And with spontaneous coronary artery dissection, the person's artery tears spontaneously and for no known cause that we know yet. Mine happened to be postpartum. When I was 38, I'd had my second child, so I had a 20-month-old and a newborn, and then boom, out of nowhere I had a heart attack. It's not related to cholesterol, plaque buildup, anything. It's just kind of a mechanical failure. As we go through the slides here, I'll tell the story of how I was able to get some research started at Mayo Clinic. But I'm eternally grateful for Brian, and this is our first IRL meeting. So
we finally met in real life today, so we're happy to be.
Yeah.
So what's neat about this is that this is a statistically improbable phrase, and if you search for this phrase, you very quickly find discussions about it on the web, and that makes it really rich for search engines. And that's really a big part of the story here today. One of the places that you'll end up is in this Women Heart community in Inspire, and that's where a lot of discussion is going on. One of the questions that always comes up in these communities is whether or not posts like this should be public or private. And as you can imagine, there is a lot of strong feeling about that. So here you see a discussion in metastatic breast cancer about one woman asking about whether this should be private. How did you find the site? And I love the response here is that someone said, the way that I found this community was through the writings of others. And I think if you take, one of the most important messages you can take away from what we're talking about today is where value is created. And what I've come to very strongly believe is that enormous value is created by what Katherine and others like her do, because they in a very real way are the fodder for research and discovery. Okay, so our story continues.
Okay.
This is an email from all the way back in 2004.
Yeah. And this actually, I had my dissection in 2003, and as you can imagine, I wasn't functioning all that great right off the bat, but I decided to start looking online because no people that I was meeting had ever even heard of SCAD. Doctors said, oh yeah, there was one line in a medical textbook, but truly, that's so rare, you can't even worry about it. It's too rare to be researched. And that's what got me started looking, because I thought if there's a form of heart attack that's killing, I thought, young women only, it should be researched. So this was probably like on my AOL account or wherever I was on at that point, but I found this person just on some random message board. She was the mother of a woman who didn't want to talk to me. But I had this encouraging message that told me she knew some people, she'd put me in touch, and it went nowhere. So that was 2004, and then we kind of crawl forward a couple years.
That's right.
And then I stumbled upon Women Heart, the National Coalition for Women with Heart Disease. And this is when I was finally brave enough to use Google, because for some reason I thought Google was evil. But I found this group and joined, and their message board was like a dinosaur, but it worked. I met some people in Australia and UK, and what I first learned was that they weren't postpartum. So what I had been told originally wasn't all that true. So at a certain point, which was in 2009, I went out to do some training with Women Heart at Mayo Clinic, and that's when I had my 70 stories, and I approached Dr. Sharon Hayes and told her that, hey, I know all these people on the internet that have SCAD, and we want to be researched, and would you help us out? And she's a wonderful physician, a very caring person, and fortunately, Mayo was ahead of the curve on social media, and she jumped right on it for us.
Dr. Hayes, I think, was appropriately ecstatic about this because this made her research a whole lot easier. And once she began doing this research, the community continued to grow dramatically. And the Wall Street Journal wrote an article about it, which sort of pulled it all together. And it was a really neat neat article. So the initial proceedings of Mayo were published, and I think what's great is that Dr. Hayes realized that a big part of the research phenomenon here was the community, that the community was what had made this all possible, that you needed all the elements together. The community has continued to grow, the research is ongoing, and it's been a real success. And I love this quote at the end from Dr. Hayes, talking about the power of the patient and the ability of patients, all of us really, because we're all patients, to advance research. We have a couple of concluding thoughts. One is that value is created not only through traditional medical pathways. Value is created by Katherine and by all of us as patients and our willingness and ability to reach out. The second point is that sometimes we have ideas, but we don't know who to talk to.
Right.
You don't just call up the main number at a pharmaceutical company and ask to talk to a researcher. It should be that easy, but I think the message for researchers is that it needs to be that easy. The final point is that technology is really important in making this possible, but the final point is that technology may be necessary, but it's not sufficient. That at the end of the day, what happened here was an authentic, fundamental human phenomenon of people searching to help themselves and to help each other.
Yeah. And so the good news is that we've grown to over probably 400, and Mayo has a registry and a DNA biobank, and we're already getting some early research results. So it's been an exciting thing. Thank you to Inspire.
Thank you. Thank you.
We did it.